Crisis Report, December 25th, 2024, even though it's December 26th, 2024. Welcome back. Syria's in trouble. So, there's not a lot here, Obviously, this is going to be a quick one, but I want to stay ahead of the game and everything. And I got major plans for tomorrow. And, Syria's having some problems. And so I thought, instead of going into tomorrow, I'll do kind of a mini crisis report and we'll put it out here. Just streamed on PrepperNow for about an hour. So, they're getting real heavy-handed over there with the stuff, the suppression and everything. And to put this into perspective, I was scrolling through YouTube today when I had a moment in between our beautiful, wonderful Christmas, and not one, not two, not three, but 4 different channels all made community posts saying, hey, what are you guys doing in the background here? You're screwing my channel. I've never seen that before. So it seems that some of our friends are a little acidic in the backside ring, if you will. A little burnt. With Orange Man bad winning. And so they're going to take it out on everybody because God knows that's what you do. If you lose, folks, you should get even more embedded in what you're doing. You shouldn't change things or reassess. So, yep. Insanity is repeating the same behavior and expecting a different outcome. But I guess they are insane. And so it is what it is. But thankfully, as shown in early November, it seems most of the country is not into the whole illness of mental. So that's a win, So we're going to do the crisis report here, December 25th, 2024. We had a wonderful day. Woke up, kids had a blowout Christmas and all kinds of stuff. Tomorrow I get to study up. Got a drone for my son and I. And so we're going to learn that. I got everything going, but I just can't control it that well yet. So I got to go and do some tutorials and stuff like that. But we'll get her done. And it's been a wonderful day. It was a wonderful, fun day. And I hope you had too. Happy birthday, Jesus. It is the reason for the season and the reason we give and the reason we are. And there's people over in Syria that are doing that, and they're kind of having some problems right now. So we're going to cover that. We're going to go in. Syria is kind of breaking down into a bunch of different little groups. And there's this kind of hope from Westerners that everything is going to be fine and hunky-dory. And guess what? It's not that way. There are major regional actors in there that are trying to bestow their ideas on what should be and all that. And, it's causing a lot of problems. And all the different factions are kind of breaking down into whatever the heck it is. So, here on the Crisis Report, the most comprehensive news on YouTube. And special shout out to the guy that said I shouldn't be drinking on camera my seltzer, and I shouldn't have my child in the background. Thankfully, that jackass has been 86th, but I'm not here because I'm trying to become Dan Rather. I'm here because I got sick and tired of the crappy way that everybody else does news, where they tell you like 6 stories, and I go out and I find friggin' everything. And within the friggin' everything, I'm usually about 12 to 18 hours before. So if you can handle a slurp from a seltzer and my child enjoying himself being a youthful little awesome dude that he is in the background, you're going to know things literally days before everybody else. So this is what I do for a living. I teach history. I have a degree in geopolitics, and I kind of know what I'm doing. So we're going to keep doing it. And if you don't like the style, there's a little unsubscribe button somewhere. YouTube's already unsubscribing people, so I really don't care. If you don't like it, roll on out. Go away, Go to someone else. There's great other people that are putting out intel. Try them for a while. So, all right. And to Joe Blow in the background, we are not going to see any of your posts anymore. And you know where to go and how to get there. So, here we go. And that's what happens when you mess with me and you talk about my kid. All right, here we go. This is your Christ report for 12/25/24. Feeling a little surly. Ukraine says North Korea troops have not had a major impact yet on fighting. Elon Musk is increasingly focused on education. Documents detailing a new preschool in Texas show his plans coming together. So I guess they're getting into education. You want to help education? Get rid of the Department of Education. Leave it to the states. Denmark has announced a huge boost in defense spending for green land hours after U.S. President Donald Trump said he's got a desire to buy the Arctic territory. Outrage over the coward police officers who did nothing as illegal migrant burned woman alive on a New York City subway. Literally video of them just walking by and doing nothing. It's literally, it's surreal. It's surreal. It's like someone take you off your freaking shirt and like pat the woman down and put the flame out. U.S. government agency that tracks foreign disinformation has terminated its operations, the State Department said Tuesday after Congress failed to extend its funding following years of Republican criticism. Well, what, we don't have people out there saying that anything that is conservative in nature is disinformation? Oh my gosh, the loss. Whatever will we do? A threat to our democracy. A threat to our democracy. Azerbaijan Airlines, a passenger jet with 67 people on board, crashed into western Kazakhstan after veering from its scheduled route. 28 passengers survived, according to officials. According to Joe Biden, I have directed the Department of Defense to continue its surge of weapons deliveries to Ukraine, and the United States will continue to work tirelessly to strengthen Ukraine's position in its defense against Russian forces, because everything is just going swimmingly over there. So thank you, Joe, for doing what you're doing. Joe Biden also said, I have directed the department... Oh, that's a doubler. Sorry about that. Trump has pledged to instruct his Department of Justice to seek the death penalty for all violent rapists and murderers. I think that's great. If they're doing those kinds of things, I don't think they should really be allowed to live. Mike Johnson has reportedly lost the trust of House Republicans ahead of the Speaker vote following his mishandling of the spending bill last week. Well, you kind of were more of a Democrat, so yeah. Excuse me, the godlike, awesome Democrats, right? So awesome. British Army has unveiled its solution to drone warfare with a radio frequency-directed energy weapon that uses high-powered radio waves to disable the electronic systems of drones and other airborne threats. And now a song from John Lennon. Imagine there's no parties, no political BS left or right. Yep, that's right. No parties. George Washington was correct. Shouldn't have any parties. Joe Biden signs legislation officially recognizing the bald eagle as the national bird of the United States. Who thought about that? There you go. Joe, put that in your hat. He also, I guess it's a doubler. Yep, this is what happens when you're full of Christmas cheer. California Governor Gavin Newsom is considering a plan to help illegal immigrants avoid deportation under President Trump by providing legal services as well as support from schools, labor unions, and local governments. That's wonderful. Why would you want to hear like a small business or people get jobs or anything like that? Nope, pour the money into people that are coming over the border and sucking up the social services. Wonderful job, Mr. Gavin Newsom. U.S. Department of Agriculture, Food Safety and Inspection Service, or the FSIS, has issued a high-risk warning over 10,000 pounds of pork products in 4 states due to two separate recalls. Bird flizzle is now killing endangered animals in zoos, with experts warning that this strain is highly deadly. I personally think we should give up all of our rights, but that's just me. Pornhub is set to be banned in 13 U.S. states. That'll be Florida, Arkansas, Idaho, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Montana, Mississippi, Nebraska, North Carolina, Texas, and Virginia. Public health experts are now warning of a quademic with the Rona, RSV, norovirus, and the flu. A yellow cab driver drove onto a sidewalk and crashed into multiple pedestrians, including a child, in the lovely Herald Square, Manhattan, on Christmas Day. It is a beautiful place that I have visited many times, close to Macy's and all that. If Macy's is still around, probably not. Thanks, Joe. But yeah, beautiful area, and that's terrible. President Trump promised to cut taxes for Canadians if they agree to become the 51st state. Who wants to see Canada become the 51st state? I know I do. Erdogan, Syrian Kurds will either lay down their arms or be buried with them. Separatist killers will either say goodbye to their weapons or they will be buried in Syrian lands along with their weapons. Turkish president told lawmakers of the ruling Justice and Development Party in Parliament. A Yemeni drone hit the Ashkelon industrial zone in Israel. Shrapnel from a Ukrainian drone most likely put down an Azerbaijani plane. Ukrainians have launched a large number of drones in the Chechen region. The Russian army shot down the drones, and shrapnel from the drones hit the plane. Holes in the fuselage of the Embraer E190 filmed during flight, as well as a pool of blood on the floor near a passenger. It was gross. And one of the wonderful things you can see on PrepperNow, subscribe, starring locals. Presumably injured by the shrapnel that caused the holes. I've got the video. We'll have numbers on how many died. Some people did live, but it was a pretty fiery and terrible crash. And we have video of a guy that was on the plane who filmed everything, and now we know what happened. Needless to say, plane crashes are really rough. Trump tells Canada if they want to become the 51st state, their taxes would be cut by more than 60%, businesses would be immediately doubled in size, and they would be militarily protected like no other country anywhere in the world. He's really into this. He wants to get up there. I think between that and Greenland, there's a little worry about the Arctic. I don't know about you, but that's what I'm thinking. I've directed the Department of Defense to continue its surge of weapons deliveries to Ukraine, and the United States will continue to work tirelessly to strengthen Ukraine's position in its defense against Russian forces. An explosion occurred in an ammunition production factory in Balıkesir, Turkey, killing 12 people. Fox News reported that in the same night, a U.S. Navy FA-18 Super Hornet was shot down over the Red Sea. The USS Gettysburg fired an SM-2 interceptor missile at another FA-18, missing it by only 30 meters. Wow. Israeli Air Force Intelligence and Operations Division are expanding target lists in Yemen. Wonderful. IDF considers a large-scale attack on the Houthis in Yemen. Yep, that's coming. Hamas refuses to submit any list of living Israeli hostages for release in the first stage of the deal. Number of captives who are still alive in Gaza is unknown. That's a problem. Islamists have attempted to burn a Christmas tree in Tripoli, Lebanon, because everything's going great there. According to the latest reports, 29 people survived the plane crash in Aktau. 10 are citizens of Russia, 14 are citizens of Azerbaijan, 2 are citizens of Kyrgyzstan, and the citizenship of 3 has not been established yet, Kazakhstan Ministry of Health reported. Defense Minister Israel Katz, on a visit to the Philadelphia corridor in Gaza, and Southern Commander Major General Finkelman said the security control in Gaza will remain remain in the hands of the IDF. There will be no Hamas in government here and no Hamas in the military here in Gaza too. We will ensure that there will be a buffer zone and control positions, and with that we will work to release all the hostages home and defeat Hamas. New Syrian regime, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, is firing live fire at Alawite protesters affiliated with the old regime in the city of Homs. Wonderful. That's great. Recent days, protests have been increasing across Syria. Christians are protesting for their own reasons, and now so are the Alawites. Syria is not quiet tonight. Alawites protest, Christians protest, ambushes by Assad loyalists in the coastal area, curfew imposed in several cities. It seems that the honeymoon of the overthrowing the regime is over, and al-Jilani is beginning to face the reality of a divided and fractured Syria. Yes, bro, it's coming. But we covered that, we called that a week ago, right? Yep, yes we did. 1 month into the ceasefire in Lebanon, IDF summarizes the war in the northern theater. We have denied Hezbollah's ability to launch a ground attack on our territory and the ability to launch a firefight using heavy rocket barrages. About 3,800 Hezbollah terrorists have been eliminated. About 80% of Hezbollah's firing capabilities have been destroyed. IDF reveals the huge quantities of weapons seized from Hezbollah in Lebanon. More than 85,000 items were confiscated, approximately 6,800 RPG and anti-tank rocket launchers, approximately 20 vehicles, approximately 9,000 charges and explosive devices, and approximately 2,700 weapons, 60 anti-aircraft missiles, 60,800 electronic equipment, communications equipment, computers, and documents. That is gone. Yesterday's report, Russian ship Ursa Major, typically accompanied by the Russian Navy and known to transport military equipment, sank following a reported explosion in the engine room in the Mediterranean Sea. 2 sailors died, 14 rescued. Today's report, the Russian cargo ship that capsized in the Mediterranean Sea after an explosion was a terrorist attack, the vessel's state-owned company said on Wednesday. Hezbollah, strategic weapon destroyed in Israeli attack in Lebanon, smuggled from Syria in an early morning attack Wednesday in Lebanon, attributed to the Israel. Hezbollah's strategic and significant weapons were destroyed. New Syrian government intends to create a huge army of 300,000 people relying on Turkey's support in this matter, said General Ahmed Osman, spokesman for the Syrian government. Turkey will help restore the Navy, Air Force, and ground forces by sending advisors. In addition, Turkish troops will be deployed in 5 areas of Syria. At the stage, a corps of new troops, 70,000 to 80,000 people will be created. In the second stage, that the army will be increased by 120,000 people and then to 300,000 in about a year and a half. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham has 40,000 fighters. Another 50,000 are allied groups. Osman said that the huge army is needed because of the threat from Israel. According to some reports, Turkey will deploy air defense systems in Syria to protect against Israeli aircraft. Assad's army before the civil war numbered up to 500,000 soldiers. So basically, Turkey's going buddy-buddy with Syria because they want the land. So this is from Amir Sarfati. It's a longer one. I'm not going to go all the way through it. But this is the downfall of Iran. So what he's saying. And what he's seeing. So I don't know if this is absolutely true. He does post very good stuff. But he's not a fan of Iran, and hopefully he is not underestimating things. So Iran is in its worst position since 1979. Okay, impossible path ahead. 445 days after 10/7/23, Hezbollah has lost its charismatic leader and completely stands in a fraction of its pre-war self. Okay, Iran spent tens of billions propping it up, and now everything has been crumbled. And so they will revert back to what they did in the late 80s and 90s, ragtag militia, extremely weak state. If Hezbollah survives being eaten alive by internal politics in Lebanon, it will instead choke because of its no oxygen line through Syria. Massive Iranian weapons depot in Syria is now replaced with violently anti-Iranian militias. Even the pro-Iranian militias in Iraq see the writing on the wall and have been suspiciously absent with their steadfast support for Palestine since November. So, Iran's failure to invest its money in energy, electricity, infrastructure. Instead, they've been, of course, going after creating proxies. It'll soon translate into rising fuel and electricity costs. We have been covering here a lot of problems with their energy. It is not doing well for them. Massive protests in the past. Could they be happening again? We'll see. Compounding this, Trump is coming in, and he is going to drop the hammer on them. So I'm fully expecting a war. And finally, Israel will attack Iran in the near future. And so from there, you can read the rest. But, yeah, it's looking kind of warlike, if you will. Netanyahu continues to threaten the Houthis. The Houthis will learn what Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Assad regime and others learned. Undersea power cable, S-Link 2, between Finland and Estonia, stopped working today with a Chinese vessel, Jinjintiang, was sailing over it. 3 Chinese vessels have destroyed 3 undersea gas or power cables in the Baltic Sea over the past year. So it's almost like something's going on. U.S. interceptor shortage and its impact. Again, this is another long one, but basically, interceptors are quite expensive, costing several $million, each more than the Arrow systems, though not necessarily superior. However, the shortage isn't due to financial constraints. Throughout the war, American destroyers have had to fire large quantities of these missiles to protect themselves. Aircraft carriers, commercial vessels targeted by the Houthis and Israel. Additionally, the U.S. assisted Israel in countering Iranian attacks using these missiles. So, manufactured by RTX. RTX produces only a few hundred of these missiles a year. So it's production. It keeps going from there. It talks about the THAAD and other stuff. But in conclusion, it says, this isn't a punishment by the Biden administration against Israel. The U.S. continues to assist in defense, though their capabilities have diminished, impacting the sleep of many until the Houthi threat is dismantled. So what does that mean? We don't manufacture anything anymore, folks. All of our manufacturing is destroyed. And it's going to play out in a warlike scenario. So, not a great time to not have production. So, what's going on in Syria, PrepperNow? Oh, it's going great. Ethnic cleansing of Alawites and Christians is taking place. ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Jilani terrorists inside the main Alawite city of Latakia are shooting wildly in the homes of these people and in an attempt to drive them out. All of Syria is rapidly descending into an all-out sectarian war with reports of some of the worst things that human beings have ever done. But hey, it's all great. Bashir al-Assad's gone and everything's going to just work out fine. Syria is rapidly disintegrating into violent sects, religions, and it's happening right now. Just about every alley is setting up a militia there. There are huge amounts of weapons, and everyone is against everyone else. This is how, from now in the Aleppo region, jihadist militias are being established against the rebelling Alawites, Kurds, and Christians that are already rebelling. So, Tahrir al-Sham forces deploy columns in the streets of Damascus with the aim of suppressing protesters. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to attend Trump's inauguration in Washington, D.C. This will mark his first trip abroad since the ICC issued its arrest warrant for Bibi. Russia Army is attempting to launch a ground operation in the southeastern sector of Ukraine with the aim of capturing Dnipropetrovsk. Compared with the airstrikes on energy facilities in Kherson, amphibious assault across the Dnieper. Trump is really pushing for Greenland, Panama Canal, and Canada. About the Panama Canal, he said it's run by the Chinese soldiers, which I've heard that. About Canada, if Canada became their 51st state, it would be militarily protected like no other country in the world. About Greenland, the U.S. needs Greenland for national security purposes, and we will be there. He's not lying. Azerbaijan Airlines has suspended flights between Baku and Grozny, as well as Makhachkala, both directions, pending the completion of the crash investigation. So, not too hot there. Not good. And Iceland has announced its intention to hold a referendum in 2027 to decide whether to apply for membership in the European Union. As a person that has visited the absolutely gorgeous island of Iceland, for the love of God, don't do the Euro thing, please. Yeah. So, that's Crisis Report. Christmas Day, folks, October 25th, 2024. I'm always here. So I look forward to the seeing what the background has. I probably lost 10 subs over on PrepperNow. Some blue hair that manages in the background is probably at the bar, 7 drinks in, for their Christmas spirit, getting their Christmas on, and go home with some stranger. What a life. And, I'll be here to do it again tomorrow, right? That's right. Crisis Report. Check out the links in the description. Subscribe if you are new here. Darken out the bell. I'm sure you probably are not new here because they don't put out notifications or inform anyone that is not already a member. So, these multi-thousand channels I have built from basically the ground up. And they don't do anything to help. So, we'll continue to do that because just like first responders, I am the first responder and I've got to take control and do what I got to do. So, to the people in the background, I hope you look forward to me posting a crap load tomorrow and going forward. So, to everybody else, God bless you all. Hit that like button, do the subscribe thing, darken out the bell. Join me over on Subscribe Starting Locals. I had a bunch of posts tonight. And that is a few dollars a month. Great way to get the information. But I appreciate you. God bless you all. And we will see you on the next one.